Hi, welcome to Commissioner's Corner. I'm Commissioner Charlotte Garrido, and today we're going to talk about Kitsap County's food chain program and our Food and Farm Policy Council. I've brought some friends with me today to help talk about this issue, but just to break into it a little bit, you'll recall that Kitsap County established a food chain program with stimulus dollars about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. And our purpose was first and foremost to help make sure that we're creating green jobs in Kitsap County, and secondly to create partnerships that may not have existed before. We felt that there were some pieces that were really strong in Kitsap County in terms of food production and food distribution, but maybe there were some more pieces that needed to be worked on. And so we put together the food chain program. We identified the links in that chain as being production. Who's producing food locally, whether it's plants or fish or animals. Who's distributing? How are the foods being distributed? What kinds of stores and restaurants, cooperatives, community-supported agriculture? What is happening out there to distribute our locally grown foods? Are there some processing capacities in Kitsap County to take it from the raw product to some finished product that you might eat at your home? What kinds of access do we have? How do people find locally produced foods rather than only buying things that have been shipped in from great distances to Kitsap County? And finally, are there capacities for us to compost food waste materials so that we're increasing the strength, the ability of the soil to produce more foods in the future? So those are the sectors of the food chain. I have some friends here that are going to help talk a little bit about some of the different capacities. We have Cynthia Mora, who is on our Food and Farm Policy Council, as is Chris Plemons, and Karen Molinari is the coordinator for the food chain program in Kitsap. So Karen, do you want to start us off by talking a little bit about some of the work that you're doing on coordinating?
Sure. As Commissioner Garrido mentioned, that we are working to know about what is available and out there in Kitsap County as part of the food chain program, who is doing the processing, producing, and distributing, and working so that people can cooperate more fully and we can have a comprehensive food system in the county. We're also working with partners like the Kitsap Conservation District, the Washington State Extension Program, and our own Department of Community Development to put together an agricultural strategic plan for the county. And we're also working as a player in the regional realm in working with Seattle and with other folks. Our county working with Snohomish County and Pierce County and King County in putting together some regional strategies to develop a comprehensive food system in our area.
Great. Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about your angle on food preparation and availability?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that I have found over the years, buying local and having the farmer in touch with the consumer has been a struggle, I think, over the years, in the fact that farmers, we're talking earlier before we started the show here, that farmers don't always do a really good job of marketing themselves and their products, and as a result, a lot of the products don't get brought to market and then are not consumed, end up as animal feed or something of that nature. And as a result, it's something that's a missed opportunity. I think that farmers in general are making great strides at working with chefs like myself and other consumers by the use of farmers markets, actually even working with the food banks in the area of Kitsap County. You're seeing more locally grown produce and locally raised products being used in food banks, obviously being sold at farmers markets. You know, thinking of markets, you think of newer markets that have gone in, such as Fresh Local, where farmers and producers are able to bring their products to market and have a source to be able, or an outlet to sell it. And this is, I think, good for the whole community of Kitsap, and I think it's something that is just on the fringe of what is, to come. I think there's a lot more that's been done and talked about with doing regional processing centers, where farmers can bring things to be processed, and the poultry processing ability that we have here locally now with the new unit that's been put into Kitsap County. And so I think we're on the fringe of where we want to go with this, and I think a lot of people are really excited about it.
Well, yes, it is a national and international movement, actually, the food movement.
Well, it is, and even you were talking earlier about composting. The school at Olympic College has just now put in a composting system that, which obviously with me being in culinary arts and food service.
Would that be at OC?
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to put it in. I was just told a couple of days ago that that's what's going to happen.
I'm saying that, Chris, because you've never said you are a chef
no,
in culinary arts at Olympic
well, I
College.
just was being incognito. So yeah, but yes, I do teach culinary arts at Olympic College, and so we try to teach a lot of sustainable practices with our students, because they are going to be the food preparers in the future, and we really need to bring this whole thing together so that it's going forward. So what did you prepare here? Well, what this is I think it's important for the people at home to say, what are some things that we can get that are local. And I went to Fresh Local downtown in Bremerton, and this is what they had, which was just a sampling. And local lettuce, radishes, they had some asparagus, the leeks, and some carrots. I think the sweet potatoes probably came from Eastern Washington, but it still counts as local because it is Washington. Again, that definition of what is local is a big issue. I know that we as a council still struggle with the definition of how do you define what is local and what is sustainable. And maybe it's tiered, what's local in Kitsap and within the Puget Sound region and then beyond to the state? I think that's really true, and I think that's where I think that eventually the definition is going to end up being is that tiered level definition. So yeah. Great. Thank you. You're welcome. Cynthia, you're a farmer. You want to talk to us a little bit about your experiences and what you're seeing in terms of the food chain?
Sure. I started off years ago before farming was cool and tearing up our lawns in our front yards in various homes that we lived in, and teaching my kids how to eat local right out of the front yard, teaching them how to harvest their own peas, and now I just am in a great place where I can own a little more acreage in South Kitsap, and my husband and I have started farming. Slowly, we're learning, but learning that it's easier to do when you're young, but still have a great passion for it at our age, and really see the importance of teaching a new generation of farmers as well. But we are, we started off just at the farm 3 years ago, and it was all neglected pasture land, and so it's been a real learning experience to try to get the composting going and build up that soil, because it's not the best of soil where we are. But our first year we grew what we could manage that we knew we could eat. Then I thought, okay, I could do this, now let's do some more, and let's try to get a market garden going. And now we've expanded. We have a couple hundred blueberry plants that we'll be able to harvest this summer. We have, a pretty large market garden, and I do hope to get out into my community and let them know that there's food for sale. Put the sign out, and there's beets are ready, the carrots are ready, there's onions, berries, just drive on up, and a lot of it might be honor system. I already have a good following of neighbors in Southworth that know where eggs are for sale, and so now we're moving into some protein birds that we're going to try to sell. So we're trying to do our part just as a small little piece in a great big puzzle, but we're working at it and having fun.
Well, now you're playing on another piece of the puzzle too, aren't you, in the food cooperative?
I am. I heard about the food co-op movement about 2 years ago through a blog and thought, I want to be a part of this. My children, when we moved up to Kitsap County, joked that there wasn't any alley nearby where people came out and opened up their sheds that had surpluses of peanut butter and grains, that I would always go kind of in gleaners or, you know, just purchasing clubs. So when I heard that there was a movement going to bring a co-op here, I knew I wanted to get on board because I really believe in having access to healthy food no matter where we live. And our big chain grocery stores try to meet that need, but there's not enough. And so we've been working very hard as a small group of amateurs that have a passion for a healthy shopping center, putting in a few amount of hours, not compared to, you know, we're not a big CEO and our giant board with lots of money, but what we're counting on is the community that believes in local food, that believes in shopping local and keeping our money in our own community, that they will come on board and see the value of being able to walk into a store and see your surplus of produce, but not only that, the value-added products that can come from, if I'm going to grow my blueberries, then I can have my blueberry jam for sale, or someone has their salsa for sale, or locally roasted coffee for sale. So we're trying to bring a full-service grocery store and meet that need of you know, your deli meats, your wine, everything. It's not just going to be a small, not a produce stand that's a seasonal produce stand, but something that will be year-round and meet, you know, you can buy your toothpaste and everything. Come shop there. So we're at a place now, we've been incorporated, we have got our bylaws finished, and we are now selling memberships, and that is the next big piece to a cooperative, is getting the community to cooperate together and bring those memberships in, which brings dollars in, and do member loan drives, and, you know, finding a location that's going to meet the needs. And we see a big grocery store. We see commercial kitchen for education. We see rooms for just teaching classes on how to feed your children. You know, we just want to be a full service, center for the community, and not just a grocery store, but we see it wellness. We want to bring wellness to Kitsap and be a part of that. Not bring it here, but be a part of what's being done here already.
So there are many messages to be conveyed about bringing the produce, the production to market, to create the markets, to encourage people to buy local foods, and to be able to have it accessible to a wide range of people in the community. So is there a special project that the council is working on at this point?
I think you want to talk. You can talk.
Are
about
you? Yeah. You're on the education subcommittee.
Well, we are part of the education.
Yes,
Chris
we are.
and I are on a subcommittee for education, and we have met. And there were 3 points. Was that we wanted to get the farmer to production.
Right.
We want to make sure that the restaurants get on board. You know, that we get the food into the commercial venues.
Correct.
And then we want to teach the consumer.
Correct, and we were going to do that by having classes at various farmers markets and various outlets to where we can educate the public in the use of things such as this, as well as other proteins and other types of products that are being produced in Kitsap County, because again, it's one of those things, unless people are aware of what is available, no matter how much you want to, you got to market to them, and you've got to open the doors before you can get them to use the product. And so we're planning to do an event out at Cynthia's farm,
which is called
Rodstall Lane Farm. Oh, the farm or the event? You can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing both. So.
Well, the Kitsap Regional Library is putting on a fundraiser, obviously to help raise money for the library, and they asked us to host it, and it will be on July 24th out at the farm, and it will be an educational piece. They're going to have local bloggers, food bloggers, and cookbook authors will be there and have a little panel discussion. But also on that, we will have educational booths from local CSA growers, just local food pieces will be there with in a vendor type of event, so they can walk around and get educated and meet the farmers. You know, just find out what the pieces are. So that is, we see that that's missing. So we want to put faces together for people. But also Monica from Monica's Waterfront Bakery and Cafe and Chris will be serving up a gourmet picnic, which will be from recipes from these gals' cookbooks, from Molly Weisenberg, who is runs a blog called Orangette, orangette.com, and then also Shauna James Ahern, who is the gluten-free girl, and she has a blog also. And so they will be there sharing all their quips and wisdom and recipes, and then we'll get to taste it from the talents of Chris and Monica.
That's the plan.
So it is going to be a great day. Bring your picnic blankets or chairs and just have a gourmet picnic. We'll have some live music out there as well. But it's going to be a beautiful sunny day.
You've ordered it.
We ordered the sun.
Yes,
Yeah,
good,
the sun's
good.
coming.
And you'll be using local products?
That's what it's going to be. So there's been talk that I think Monica has gotten a local pig, so we're going to barbecue a pig and do some other proteins that we can source here locally in Kitsap County. And,
excellent.
And she's taking care of all the salads and all the other types of preparations. So it should be a really nice event. It should be exciting.
Okay, so we'll put that. We'll post that as we close the program today, so that people can remember. What are some of the other issues that the council is working on? I know that there's a policy subcommittee, and I know that they're working on some policy direction, and the real purpose of the Food and Farm Policy Council is to advise the Board of County Commissioners on policies that can help make sure that we have a robust local food system, and that it's easy for people to produce foods, and that we're also encouraging more outlets and availability of food. But and so the council has only existed since late January, and therefore you've only had five meetings so far, maybe 6, and there's much yet to be done. Are there some policies that are out there now for attention?
Yeah, the policy committee, as you know, the county is redoing the rural element of its comprehensive plan, and so the policy committee has taken on looking at that and giving some input, and then there'll be some public meetings happening coming up to get county input from everyone in the county, all citizens, on the rural element of the comprehensive plan, which is going to be beefed up a little bit in the farm area, in the agricultural area, from what it had been previously. So that's one of the efforts our policy council is working on.
And because we're funded by energy efficiency dollars for a very short term, you'll be looking for additional grant funding to continue this process.
That's right.
But we'll also be looking for some energy efficiencies that we're introducing to Kitsap County by growing locally.
Yes.
And probably looking at how we can encourage the other pieces of the food chain. We know that, for example, to go to the recycling component, Kitsap County already has done some outreach with local schools, so that elementary schools and junior high schools are already, what is it called? Food to Flowers is the elementary, and I can't remember the junior high title, but they have these projects so that the students are recycling the waste from their lunches into soil, and making sure that then they are seeing it become actual soil.
And in May, the county commissioners passed an ordinance to recycle food waste at the curbside for all county residents. So I know that effort is starting to happen with everyone in the county, and that's also another great thing for restaurants, as well as just the consumers at home, to be able to recycle food waste at the curbside.
That's right.
And there are some restaurants that actually have programs with local farmers that they use it for animal food as well from the restaurant. So they take the scraps and the the remains, and the farmer comes and picks it up every couple of days. And so it's a good, really quick answer to that, and it helps cut the cost for the farmer as well as the restaurant.
It reduces what we're sending to the landfill.
Exactly, exactly.
Good. I understand there's a website for the food chain program?
Yes, there is, and we'll have a slide for that viewers can see, but it's www.kitsapfoodchain.org.
And what would I see if I went there?
Well, we try to keep that up to date, and we have information on various activities, including our sustainable cinema programs that are once a month, the activities of the council. We'll have the events, upcoming events, the farm calendar, listing of various activities going on at the farmers markets. So we keep that pretty lively, and also we're in the process of developing a bibliography of other sources that people can access to find out more about different sectors of the food system that they might be interested in.
Well, this is a burgeoning field, as we said earlier, and there is some really interesting information out there that Karen, you are putting on the website that's pretty valuable. It's interesting to see what other areas are doing, and to begin to see a bit bigger pattern of what's happening in Kitsap County. Farmers have, for eons, had difficulty because farming is a pretty isolated business, and so it's hard to be also a good marketer and maybe a good food processor. But if we can begin to help create the links between the parts of the chain, it makes it easier for each partner to be able to make good. And this will, in the end, be very good for the Kitsap economy, because we will be increasing the capacity of food that's grown here that we local folks are eating, and therefore keeping that money circulating within Kitsap County. So some of those partners are really, really important and may not have been formally recognized before. Some of the early work actually started through WSU Extension. Farmers markets have existed for more than 100 years in Kitsap County, but there was a gap for several years, probably from the 50s through the 60s and part of the 70s. So some of the existing farmers markets, I think the Port Orchard one, which I helped found, was founded in 1978, I think it was, 77 or 78. And it was an association so that it could be expanded beyond Port Orchard. In the end, most of them are independent farmers markets now, but now I think we have 8 or 9 farmers markets in Kitsap County, which is more than just about any place, if not more than any place else in the state. So we are ahead in some measures, and we have much ahead of us in some other measures. But it's really exciting to begin to see, to bring into focus some of the great things that are happening in Kitsap County, to see that we have some great farmers markets, some great outlets for food, and that many existing restaurants would really like to have more food available to them. And so it'll be great to be able to spend the next couple of years putting together ideas about how to enhance that, and to maybe pilot some new projects as time goes on. I know that the Economic Development Alliance has been very, very involved in looking at how to increase the food and farm capacity in Kitsap County, and actually they are the ones that suggested a Food and Farm Policy Council. So we probably tailored it a little bit more, but it exists now, and I look forward to much, much good work coming out of the Food and Farm Policy Council. There are 15 slots on that council. I think there's 2 vacancies right now, and we will post the list of the members of the council after we've finished our chat today. But the major areas, again, are food production, distribution, processing. We have one single person representing buy local, 1 for nonprofits, and 1 for sustainability. So we have lots of interesting perspectives coming together around a larger table than this one to be able to discuss food and farm in Kitsap County. Let's see. What do you look for this summer beyond this event being some of the best productions out of the council and out of local gardens?
Well, I think the local gardens, obviously, it's going to only get better. I mean, as the harvest season comes upon us, it's just now beginning. I think the variety and the abundance is going to be phenomenal. A lot of the farmers that I've talked to said that they've had good growing seasons so far, and that we should see excellent results at the markets. And so, as a consumer and a chef, that's something that I always look forward to. Is that when it's harvest time and everything's available, it's at its best.
And I look forward to what you're going to contribute to that. Having written a cookbook for the food banks to be able to better use the products that are going through the food banks, and having gone to talk to folks at the White House, I'm really interested in seeing what your next step is, and I'm going to encourage it to be right here in Kitsap.
Oh, gee, thanks. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add?
The harvest meal, I think that will go on probably in
Yes.
September.
Right. It was last year. It was called the Chef's Showcase of Kitsap County, and this year it's going to be called the Harvest Dinner, because that's basically what it is the harvest meal. And this year it's going to be at Olympic College, and the date escapes me. I know that it's in September, like in the second to third week, and Jim Freeman and KCAA is real involved with that, and so that's another partner of the commission and the policy council. So we're with Jim and them, as well as Monica's working on that as well. So she's got her hands kind of in a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And with it being at Olympic College, I'll probably have a few things to do with the harvest dinner as well. So.
Well, thank you. It's been delightful to have this chat today. I look forward to the harvest meal and to the Food for Thought event out at Rodstall Farm in July. We do have marvelous products here in Kitsap County, and I look forward to the harvest season. And between now and the harvest season, there's lots of good fruits and vegetables and other products to be able to partake in. This is just a very small example of the beauty that's here and the availability of what's here. Happy harvest to all of you. Thanks for joining us today. And that's it for now from Commissioner's Corner.